Okay, everybody, welcome. We are going to get started and we're going to discuss steps to a private practice with specific focus on medical weight loss and wellness. My name is Cheri Stoka and I'm owner and founder of Weighless MD, and I am really excited to present this topic to you today. So I wanted to start out with just kind of setting the stage for who this is ideally for. And really, this is going to be anyone who is interested, obviously, in starting your own practice related to health and wellness. This is going to be for someone who is overwhelmed with the thought of, where do I begin? Someone who currently has a practice, but you're looking to expand your services. This is for someone who wants to offer weight loss, but not really sure what type of programs and services to offer. It is for someone who wants a virtual practice or a physical location, which obviously we'll talk more about. And it's also for somebody who wants turnkey solutions and resources. So the highlights for today are really, we're going to discuss your why, because when you're thinking about starting your own practice, I think it's super important, based on my experience, to really dig into why you want to, take this career move in this lifetime. We're going to talk about credentialing and licensures, how to pick a location, how to name your business. We'll talk briefly about necessary infrastructure, how you're going to get paid, essential forms, resources, marketing, get started tips, common mistakes to avoid, biggest challenges, and really how you can start it. So hopefully I can pull all of what I have learned in the last 8 years and really get you thinking, coming up with really your decision to either move forward or maybe decide to do something else. So I had just mentioned about the whys. So it's the most important question, because this is really going to be what motivates you through what, in my opinion, is the ride of your life. Really, what are you passionate about? What is the driving force or the voice in your head that you hear all the time? I mean, for me, it was always like, I wanted to go out on my own because of all the experiences, and they were unbelievable experiences I had as a registered dietitian and in sales, nutrition sales, pharmaceutical sales. I always just, there was something in the back of my mind was like, I saw myself doing that. Is it for the money, or is it really to make a difference, to impact your community? Do you just love to help people, etc.? You really, in my opinion, I know a lot of people start businesses for many different reasons, but if you're going to be fully engaged in the business, you really have to love it, because it really will need all of you. And at the end of, really, what is your vision and what's your mission? Those are all important things to think about. So I thought it was important to kind of just give you a snapshot of what opening a business and its statistics looks like, because I never really learned about these until later. And then when I did see statistics about businesses failing, it kind of just stuck with me. And so when I think about when I started and where I am today and how I beat the odds, it's important. And it's actually something to be very proud of, because you can see here that businesses just in general, within 1 year, almost 20% of them close. After 2 years, 30%. After 6 years, half of the businesses close. And then after 10 years, almost 70% of businesses shut down. And I read a statistic, and don't quote me on this, but it was something related to the fact that businesses that are still in business after 10 years, approximately 80% are barely making it by. So, just something to think about as you take this next step in your life. So I wanted to start with, because today I'm talking about a private practice, related to health and wellness. And my business is weight loss and wellness. So we bring in all different pieces to that. And it's really important to really think about the type of model that you want. And that really depends on, who you are as a professional or a practitioner, because that's obviously going to dictate the type of model that you create. Are you going to be medical or non-medical? It doesn't, even as a non-physician, such as myself, I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist. I have specialties in other areas, but I decided to create a medical weight loss model because I wanted to offer many different services. So it does allow you to kind of broaden your scope and really get into lab testing, specialty testing. Maybe there's some medication you want to incorporate, injectables, etc. You want to really think about services that you would like to offer and who will you need as part of your team. So if you are thinking about a practice on your own, then obviously some of these things are not specifically going to apply, but I'm speaking specifically of opening a physical clinic that incorporates a team of people. But I will also touch on the virtual and the individual models as well. Other things to think about as you are planning and kind of thinking what the next, say, couple of years are going to look like, is how much money you're going to need each year to really keep practicing, how much you need to bring in to earn a decent living. How will you get customers or patients? I mean, this is so crucial because this is something that I didn't think about when I was so focused on getting the business built and getting the sign up, and I literally thought people would come pouring in, and it just does not work that way. And so you really do have to kind of think about, like, who am I going to collaborate with, partner with, and really, prepare for the beginning stages of a new business. As far as funding, will you need to get out a loan, or do you have upfront, do you have your savings, etc. Certificates and licenses are obviously a big piece to all of this. So the very first thing that you'll need to do when thinking about a private practice is, if you're going to open at a location, that needs to be pretty early on, because you can't really apply for any certifications or registrations without an address. So you'll have to do that. You'll have to think about, your name pretty quickly. Think about who's going to be on your team, because that will kind of dictate, the services that you offer. And if you need, additional certifications for certain scopes of practice. And like I was saying, determining your model, medical versus non-medical. So a lot of this is obviously going to be different for, say, a dietitian who wants to open her own private practice and just really do like nutrition counseling, weight loss, etc. So you're going to determine your type of practice: LLC, sole proprietor, partnership, corporation. My business, I started as an LLC. Most people would either do LLC or sole proprietor, I believe. But again, everyone is very different. After registering your business, then you're going to have to apply within your state and within the federal government. So your employer identification numbers. And so as you kind of go through the process, you'll be prompted to do certain things. So even though it seems like it would be overwhelming at first, but it's kind of like when you do one thing, it prompts you to do the next, and you just basically, follow all the specific rules and guidelines to get your business launched. So as a medical and wellness weight loss business, you'll have to have your national provider identifier. So an NPI, most people already have this. And this is essentially a Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act administration standard. So it's a unique identification number for healthcare providers. So essentially designating your specialty. So all practitioners can apply for an MPI. And you also will need it for other reasons, just in regular, business functions and management of that, especially if you're going to accept insurance in your business. But you actually, we don't contract with any insurance companies with Weighless MD. We are fully cash, but we work with our patients in helping them, get reimbursement and such. So we definitely still need our MPIs. A DEA license, or Drug Enforcement Agency. So this is a certificate that authorizes prescription of controlled substances. So there are some weight loss medications that are considered controlled substances. And so if you are going to be offering those types of medications, such as phentermine or phentermetrazine, there's certain that fall under that category, then you would have to apply for a DEA license. If you are someone who's just doing, private practice, more nutrition and such, obviously that would not be something you would need to obtain. So it's not necessary for prescribers who don't use controlled substances. Drugs, medications, as most people know, are categorized by certain schedules, and the schedule essentially will dictate the prescribing rights. So the cost of a DEA license for a prescriber is approximately, well, this is like they just increased their price, but it's $888 every 3 years. So not terrible. And so you will also need a DEA license, so a provider per location. So if you have a provider that's going to multiple locations, you will still need a DEA for that, for all of the locations. So it's not good enough to have a provider who goes to, who has the one DEA for a specific location. So you do need to get them for all the locations. Naming your business, this can be really fun, or it can be really daunting. And I just wanted to mention a few things to think about, because first and foremost, like, it's something that needs to be done, at the beginning, because you're going to be, doing a lot of paperwork and such, and you need that. And you just want to make sure that your name is not already taken or trademarked. And I believe it's really important to make sure that your name is pretty clear on the service that you provide, because that's marketing in itself. And it's really, most people, like, if they see, like I gave the example, Weighless MD versus Cheri Stoka RD. If people see my name, Cheri Stoka RD, they're not really going to know what I do. Whereas if they see, oh, Weighless MD, oh yeah, they do weight loss, and they do wellness, that type of thing. So have your name sell your business. If you are someone who's going to be building out or looking for an actual location, these are some pretty important pieces. Obviously, most people know that location is paramount. Where are you going to see these patients? Are you going to lease? Will you buy some space? Are you going to rent out space from existing businesses? You can literally, when I first started, I built out, so you see that image, that's my initial build out, my kind of like my main hub. But I also partnered with a Medi Spa, and I worked out of their office. And really, it was great, because I was obviously able to get referrals from all of their clients. And so there's so many different ways that you can find space to see patients. And at the beginning, you want to keep it small, and then you can obviously expand from there. So necessary requirements really depend on business, obviously, but for the business that I'm speaking of, we really needed easy access. We needed easy parking, street visibility, We didn't want to obviously be right next to competitors. You want to be demographically, yeah, that makes sense. For us, we weren't taking certain insurances, and we knew that we needed to be in an area that had more disposable, like, cash and things like that. And again, looking at your target audience and what the area, this area looks like. So then you have the size of your location, really thinking about how much room do I need? What does the layout look like, etc. So all those things are pretty important to think about. Basic necessities for a business, like a private practice such as this, would be, having a couple of exam rooms, restrooms. I always recommend 2 restrooms, one for staff and one for your patients. It just makes for a very nice environment for your staff. Obviously, I know sometimes it's not possible. Kitchen area is really important. Storage area, med cabinet, locked med cabinet if you're going to be using controlled medications. Obviously, a waiting area, consultation area, and your front office space. So I'm going to talk a little bit about virtual versus on-site. So there are a lot of people, and I've talked to many people who are trying to determine, do I open up a practice or do I just do virtual? And I'm going to speak very, very generalized, scratch the surface type of pros and cons of each. And then I'll tell you what my experience has been. But for virtual, the pros of that are kind of obvious. You have the opportunity to expand your reach, right? So you can obviously go outside of your local area. You can even go, into different states, etc. There's going to be a reduction in cost because you don't have costs on a physical location or a build out and, phone system, etc. And another really positive aspect of virtual is automating systems and programs, because this is key. I mean, I have seen some businesses who are still using the files, like the hard copy files. It is all about, the technology has moved so fast that we have to be 100% automated. We have to be able to survive, in certain situations, and technology really allows for that. So the other piece to virtual, though the cons to virtual, truly is the physical accountability. And patients for over 8 years, and we are a busy practice, a very busy practice. So no, there are some that literally need to see us. They need to see us. That's what keeps them motivated and accountable. But we also have for people that don't need us, and we have our virtual options. So again, the human connection is huge. And when you have a physical clinic, when you're just virtual, it really does limit your scope, as you can imagine, because you can't do blood work, you can't do, certain specialty tests. You can do some, you can send out test kits and things like that. But we've kind of dipped into many different areas, and you just obviously have to really stay focused on your specialty. So the pros to having an on-site clinic, like I just said, obviously, is the accountability piece, the human connection. You are able to really build this collaborative team. I mean, when you have a good team, it's like, I was an athlete my whole life. So I miss that collaboration and my teammates and things like that. And, trying to accomplish a common goal, that's what you get when you have a physical clinic. And again, it will enhance your scope of practice. You'll have more visibility. And so the only con really would be that there's more upfront work involved. There's more costs involved, obviously, but oftentimes that is absorbed by, all the different things that you can offer when you have it. So then there's the hybrid services. So you offer virtual and physical location, and that's what we do. And I truly believe that it's essential in this day and age. I think we've all learned from the last 3 years or so, COVID and all of that, that we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared to adapt, to pivot, and when you are virtual, you're able to do that. So again, just thinking about, like, there may be more shutdowns. There's going to be weather constrictions where, when you have a small business and one person or two people can't show up. I mean, this is things to think about in a small business. They're sick, they're quarantining, I mean, there's just many different things. So having the options, the virtual options are just so important. And it really simplifies your workload. I started the business on my own, really from ground zero. And after about a year, like at the beginning, I felt like I could multitask and manage and kind of, sleep at night. But then as things began to grow, all I would think about is simplify and automate, simplify and automate. Anything someone said to me, immediately I'm thinking, if it's not simple, I'm doing it, and how can I automate it? Because this is how you make money without having to work like a crazy person. So that's kind of the benefit of having both. How will you get paid? So this is a pretty easy aspect. Most people understand setting up a business account, trying to determine, are you going to do cash only? Will you accept insurance? I mean, credit cards, you can accept credit cards anywhere now. Setting up a payment system. You can set up payment plans for people. They can do Care Credit, a PayPal credit. And, so there's many different options. It's all pretty simple to set up, but eventually as a business, you'll likely have to hire an accountant to help you with all of the kind of back end stuff and taxes and all of that. So how will you differentiate yourself? This is huge. And to be quite honest with you, there were many things that I missed going into starting my business, but this was one thing that I knew I was going to market to, and I knew that I was going to be different. I knew I was going to be way different than all these other weight loss clinics that are out there. So think about that. Think about how you're going to differentiate yourself, the services you want to offer, the pricing, do your research around the area, because right now I have 2 clinics, and I do keep the pricing similar, but we have had to make adjustments because one market is less affluent than the other. So, kind of thinking about that and really utilizing and leveraging your experience as obviously the professional and the person that's kind of the voice of the business. Really looking at your competitors. Me, for one, I never really liked to do that because I was like, I knew what to do. I was honing in on my focus, but it did force me over time to really look into the competitors and see what they were doing. And so that's very important. And again, I mean, it's just, how are you different? Be able to answer that question all day, every day, have it just like part of your, 1 minute, 2 minute elevator, speech that they say. So that is important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about key infrastructure, because as a business owner, there's a lot of details. And so you have like big picture, all the things to get the business up and running, and you can open your doors. But then there's like all the details that are inside, right? And I honestly cannot even begin I tell people all the time, ignorance is bliss, because if I would have known the work, I would have done things differently. I would have hired more people. I would have I would have prepared a little bit more, but it's so much work. I mean, from starting a website, creating your website, because at the beginning you don't have a lot of money. So you're doing everything yourself. And creating your I just said that, and which is a constant evolve, you're constantly changing that and enhancing and such. Your phone, fax, copier, email system, electronic health record, which I will talk a little bit more about because it's crucial. And then all of the resources, from the forms, the handouts, patients, the consents, the education. I mean, it's becomes a little overwhelming when, again, you're not really thinking through the programs that you're going to offer and what the patient is going to need to succeed. So that, honestly, I hired one person to help me. She's been with me since pretty much I opened, and we have created everything over the years. And, we're dietitians, so we're pretty anal and we're perfectionists. And so we've been able to really kind of come to a place where, like, okay, this is good. So now it just needs, like, small tweaking and things like that. And then there's the consents and the waivers. So consents you're going to need for every program that you do, medical and nutrition intake forms, symptom assessment forms. We are big on these. We do these on a regular basis because we're all about kind of like looking at the whole body. It's not just about, nutrition and putting people on, these diets and such. Cancellation, no-show, late arrival, all these different policies are going to be such a huge part of your practice. HIPAA, policies for weekend and after hour coverage, support, etc. So an electronic health record obviously is essential and necessary. So it is one of the most important decisions that you will make. We were pretty lucky. We started with one. We started with Practice Fusion, and then probably like 4 years ago, I switched to another one, which I love, love, love. And so these are just some important things to think about as you're looking for your EHR. So you must be able to collect and manage all information regarding your patients. So just think paperless as much as humanly possible. You should be able to collect payment credit cards even through your electronic health record. You should be able to with any type of payment system, which is pretty common now. You must be able to create super bills so that you can provide that to your patients so they can send it to their insurance company. So even if you don't contract with insurance companies and bill insurance companies, your patients can still, they can still do that on their own. You just have to provide them with the proper documentation. So the EHR that has that ability, we do it so quickly. Whereas before it was like, oh my gosh, when someone mentioned they need the super bill, it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to take so long. So keeping that in mind, like I said, a good EHR is going to keep you about 80% paperless. Obviously, you're going to be scheduling through there. It's got to be HIPAA, compliant. And it's very, very important that you pick a platform that has a history and they've been in business for a long time. People like them because I take that back. I did try a different platform that was new and it was kind of a nightmare. And the reason why it's such a nightmare is because when you upload all of your information, when you start to create your resources in that platform, like it's a beast to now have to take all that information and upload it and recreate it. So keep that in mind. So ongoing expenses for a physical clinic is going to be, utilities, your rent, website hosting, any software that you have, your phone, your marketing, payroll, supplies. So these are the top ongoing expenses for a business. And obviously the big ones are going to be your payroll and marketing. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about it, but I can't get too much into it because I get very emotional. So but the other ones are pretty realistic and doable. Oh, okay. So here we go. Here we go. Marketing. I'm going to go through this and then I'll just give you a little bit of my experiences, but marketing, it's just create your brand, create your message, stay consistent with your message. It's really important. You don't want to confuse people with what you do. I mean, we've confused people for so many years, and it was kind of like, we weren't just weight loss, like we did things so different. So it's like, I had to be, I had to go through a lot of different avenues to try to be able to come up with that. Ensure your website is optimized. Just because you have a website out there does not mean that the linking is attractive to Google. Google changes their algorithms all the time. So if you don't keep up with the changes, you are going to keep falling and falling and falling. So I have, and I'm learning things every single day about marketing, but that is super important. Creating a lead magnet. This is pretty cool. This is something that you kind of put on your website, and then you can put money into it to get people to click on it. And something that attracts them, like ours is top 5 mistakes people make when trying to lose weight or something like that. And then if they want the information, they put their contact information in there. Eventually you get some type of platform for communicating with your current base. So like Constant Contact, Active Campaign. There's so many other ones out there. Keeping track of referrals. So, I'm always about finding new people, but what I've realized over the last couple of years is that we need to take care of our current people. And because now we see so many referrals. So it's something to really think about, because kind of like that 80-20, kind of like low hanging fruit. There's no better patient than someone that was referred by a happy customer. So that's super important. Don't aim for perfection. So I would say, don't be like me, but I was like, anything that went out there had to be perfect. What is this message? What are they saying? Sometimes you just got to get information out there, because you got to get your name out there. Like I said, word of mouth is crucial, and you got to be present and be an expert, in whether you're the expert or someone else is expert for your business, like on social media, giving those messages so you can gain that credibility. So I'm going to talk a little bit about weight loss because weight loss is, in my opinion, what a lot of people need to add to their business, because, let's be honest, let's look at the health statistics, which we'll talk a little bit about, but, reasons why weight loss and wellness, really is such a viable business. I'm going to talk a little bit about strategic weight loss, why we call our programs strategic, and really get into why they're different and why you must automate and scale your practice. So offering weight loss, whether you start your own practice, whether you add weight loss to an existing business, it does not matter. You will be expanding your market. 80% of the population is obese or overweight, and that's not changing. I mean, it's just not. Millions of people are looking for solutions, and they're not getting what they need. So they're always looking for other ways. They're always looking for more help. And so that's really where you come in and really differentiating yourself. And like I mentioned before, I can't say enough about the market, because it truly is $1 billion market. And I don't need to sit here and explain to you all why we are where we are, because it's scary and it's sad. Really, it really is sad, even though I'm in the business, and I'm glad that I won't be out of business, but it's sad where we have gone as a nation, for sure. So number 2 is patient satisfaction. And I would say it, sorry, I'm just going to move this down for now. Weight loss services really can be combined with so many different other treatments and services for optimal outcomes. We do this non-invasive fat reduction therapy that people like to do, for, stubborn areas and such, but it's like we always complement it with our program because again, you just get optimal results. So even if you're like in a pain clinic or you're in a med spa, it's a it's an opportunity to really have patients, move along a lot quicker. So strategic weight loss, I talk about this a lot. And so essentially, my belief and how I've always believed is that you really have to treat the foundation before you can really help someone lose weight long term. And so what that means is really resetting and rebalancing the body for optimal weight loss. It is treating the foundation, the roots of a tree. So like our gut health is driving all of these other things. And so we spend a lot of time on looking into, gut issues and such. So that's our approach, but our strategic weight loss is very much about, healing the body while they lose weight. So they're in a healthier metabolic state. Weight loss, like I said, can be added to any other specialties. So obviously you can see all the different specialties here that would benefit from weight loss, or these are just areas that you can partner with eventually and create your referral sources, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to help you understand a little bit more about Weighless MD and a little bit because like right now, nobody really knows who I am, but I started Weighless MD in 2014. And again, my approach was always in treating the whole body for optimal weight loss. And so this was always just, where my focus was. And so I spent years and years of study and research and getting certifications in integrative and functional nutrition and things like that. So in 2014, we started. In 2016, I started creating protocols for everything that we did. So every weight loss program that we had, I created a protocol. And the reason, I will go into a little more detail, but it was literally laying out exactly what needed to be done at each visit for a patient in one of our programs. So this, we've worked like a couple of years on that. And then actually in 2019, I launched and created another business called Weighless MD Pro. So this was for other professionals or other providers. And so I did that, COVID hit, had a really slow start. And then shortly after that, when we started to kind of regain momentum with selling to other providers, I was approached and asked if I would think about franchising my business. So Pro to me was kind of just, just an entity of that. So that's what I ended up doing. Just a couple months ago, I franchised the business. So now it is available for that. I have two different franchising models, and one of them is the physical clinic, and the other option is an add-on. It is an add-on option. So if you own a business, like you literally can just add on weight loss and offer it that way. So really, a franchise, for people who are not familiar with it, I think most people are, but it really is going to save you time and money and giving you all of the resources that you need to get your business up and running. Like I said, we've developed protocols for everything. We've developed employee training. We created handouts and patient forms. We've developed all of our own programs. And essentially, it's going to take years off of the work that anyone that wants to get in this business would have to endure. And the really cool thing that we developed a couple years ago was a scalable platform. And essentially what we did with all of our programs is we created the program in our app. And so over the course of the years, we've developed videos, educational resources that literally took the patient through the program. So it wasn't always us having to be in front of people. So now we have programs where if people just literally are looking for a quick reset or such, we set them up on the online program, they pick up their product, and we don't see them again until the end of the program. So, or sometimes we don't even see them at the end because it is 100% supported that way. So you really have the opportunity to build your practice without additional time and money and space and employees and resources, et cetera. So this is just another option that, again, differentiates us in so many ways. So we developed the model and decided to franchise because it was so of this. I care about health and wellness. I'm super passionate about it. And when I just like look around and I see and I hear things and I'm like, this is just not right. Like we're okay that, we're all on these multiple medications. We're all walking, massive gut issues. We're dealing with blood sugar dysregulation and diabetes and pre-diabetes. I'm like, that's not okay. So this is what I can do to help. And not only that, I also was very motivated to improve efficiencies in my clinic, in my physical locations, because if I didn't create the protocols, the guidelines, things would not work and turn out the way that I would want them to. So that's why we broke down each visit, like making sure that these are the things that are being discussed at each visit. Messaging needed to be consistent, and certain education needed to be communicated to patients through when they went through their programs. So that's another reason why we did it. And at the end of the day, I'm very driven by results. I care a lot about people, but there is something about not only just winning in this industry, but I'm not really happy. I can run a successful business, make a lot of money, but if I'm not having my patients, none of that really matters. That we're very driven by that, and we monitor almost every single result. So when someone does not succeed, we're digging into it and we're figuring it out and we're regrouping with the patient. So my background, just me, I went to UW-Madison. I then went on to Mount Mary University for my master's. I have a board certification in integrative health and functional nutrition. I am a certified LEAP therapist. So that is more for food sensitivities. So tying into the whole gut health, I'm a gut health expert. And aside from all of my education, my life as a younger adult and a child was soccer. Very, successful with playing soccer at Madison, then played professionally for a while and was on the national team for a short period of time. So I, kind of was always in the world of my body, how can I treat my body so that I can perform optimally. And so I think that's kind of what drove me to be kind of like more immersed in this and helping other people. So I was born with just an interest in health and wellness, like even as a young kid. I won't get in and bore you with all those details, but I always was asking questions. But I've been on my own health journey as well. And so that really has taught me a whole lot. A lot of it was very specific to gut health. A lot was specific to the environment and being exposed to mold, throughout my life and things like that. So I learned so much, and I started a franchise because really I wanted others to experience what we have developed and how we can kind of spread the word and help many other people, more people. And so it always comes back to treating the foundation for optimal health. It's like anything in life. If you don't get to the core, if you don't get to the root, all the other stuff is short term. So that's kind of our approach, and that's why we have success. Let's skip that. We do many different programs and services, but we have 3 core 30-day weight loss programs that are considered like our quick weight loss, our strategic weight loss programs. And one is called HCA Lean, HCG. We do drops. Sometimes we have access to injections, and then HC2. So all of these do the following. They target abnormal fat stores. People don't realize that we have different types of fat stores. We have brown, we have beige, and we have white. And so if you are targeting the wrong fat stores, you're not going to get the results that you desire. So you have to kind of know what you're doing. And I've done a zillion webinars on this, but just keep that in mind. I will kind of touch on it a little bit more. You must be able to spare muscle mass during quick weight loss. And this is also something that when people hear people all the time, oh yeah, I lost 20 pounds, on this particular program, but nobody knows what they lost. So we're always measuring it. We're always making sure that when people are losing significant weight, it's muscle mass, because it's fat loss, not muscle mass, because that's, obviously super important. Another very, very important piece to quick weight loss is supporting detoxification and supporting the liver and such. So, we all are toxic loaded, and people that are overweight and obese are even more toxic loaded. So when you start to mobilize the fats the way that we do so quickly, a lot of those toxins will go into circulation, and they can be reabsorbed and they can be kind of where they. So we have to make sure that we're opening up those pathways. We are making sure the patients are comfortable during the process. So again, all of our programs are designed to support all of those metabolic processes that are happening during quick weight loss, because it's literally, so it's a little more complicated than just, oh yeah, okay, let's reduce your calories, and you'll lose, maybe you reduce it by 1,500 calories, you lose 1 pound a week. That's just kind of nonsense. But anyway, different fat stores. So these different fat stores you have to be strategic in how you go about them. Something like this is visceral, that's deep belly fat, whereas something like this is more subcutaneous. So again, understanding all of that is important. It kind of touches on the different fat stores: brown, white, beige. These are the 3 types that we have in our body. So brown is the healthy, more metabolically active fat cell. You can see these are mitochondria. So these will actually help you burn more fat, whereas the white is the fat storing fat cell. So oftentimes this is very difficult to access. And then you have the beige, which is kind of a mix of both. So again, knowing the different types of fat and how you actually access them is crucial. So our approach, again, is you have to be strategic. You must target the abnormal fat, and you must start to gain some weight in really rebalancing and resetting the body. Very quickly, just giving you a snapshot of our training program. So we have a very thorough training program for anyone that would want to partner with us. And all of our resources, not only for you, but also for your patients, are all in one place. And just another example, so videos, booklets, assignments. And I always like to give this example because it was huge for us, but even if you have like a physical clinic or a virtual, when you're doing these programs over and over, you get really kind of tired of doing the nutrition education piece and helping them really understand what the program is, et cetera, et cetera. So we have created videos that the patient literally, and watches, so we don't have to keep repeating over and over again. What's included in a training, so it's approximately 12 hours of training, all of your weight loss protocols for each program, patient handouts, videos, assessment forms, etc. And then the 3 30-day weight loss programs that are automated, online and automated. And our automation through our app, this just gives you an idea of what the patient experience looks like. So every single day, so each day, they're going to get an email that takes them through the program. Today you're going to take this, here's a recipe, really engaging them each day when you're there. And so that's what that looks like. And then we house all of our education handouts there as well. So they're not calling you and saying, oh, can I get a handout for this? Can I get a handout for that? It's all housed in the online platform. And then recipes are all there. They can print them. They can print grocery lists. It's really great. They can track their food. And just another look at some of the different resources that they can go back to. And then a thing is, so if they're all online, they can get an integrated scale that with our app, and you can still see all of their progress, because once they purchase the scale, the body composition scale, when they step on it, it automatically uploads into the platform. So that helps with the accountability piece for the virtual patients. And obviously logging their food, it's crucial when you're doing our programs, because the diet is so important. All right, last slide. Top reasons why businesses fail and how I beat the odds. So running out of money. Most people, 38% of people who fail run out of money. My belief when I started was I started slow. I did everything on my own, and I grew when the money started to come in. Lack a market need. We're not opening a tire company. Well, that's probably not a good example, but weight loss, it's a $1 billion market. It's not going away in our lifetime. The competition, I knew people are looking for something different. I knew it. And so I came out strong with a unique program, and it seemed to work. So the model, wrong business model, our model works really, really well, but we also offer flexibility in our model. There's so many ways that you can go about doing things, which is really cool. Didn't properly price things. Like I mentioned before, before you open your business, you already have done your research and you're pricing the right, the correct way, not outpricing, not too low, etc. Hiring the right people. This is huge. I've learned a lot of hard lessons with employees. I really have. And, but, at the end of the day, finding your team is what's going to drive, the success. And a lot of businesses, well, that's showing a small percent with COVID and everything, a lot had to close down because they weren't able to survive when there were shutdowns. And we were pivoting even before we were almost required to. So survived COVID, we made money during COVID. And so you just have to really be ahead of the game, ahead of the market, know what's going on in the world. And the last one is passion. Yeah, you definitely need this. We are, like I said, we love it so much, like everyone on my team, like we really get into it. So that goes without saying. And I'm sure anyone that is listening to this and looking to start their own is, passionate as well. So that's it. I'm going to actually stop the recording and then do a separate one for questions. So thank you very much. And what I will put on the screen here is my contact information with my phone number, and anyone can contact me if they have any questions. And like I said, I will also answer questions shortly. So thank you much.